You have found yourself on another episode of Locked On Bulls. DeMar DeRozan says he has unfinished business left in Chicago, but at the same time says don't rule out the possibility of him going to LA, which is really, really weird. We're also going to do specific draft player profiles on Kal'el, Ware, and Tristan de Silva. We're going to get into all that and more right after this.
You are Locked On Bulls, your daily Chicago Bulls podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Locked On Bulls, member of the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every single day. That's Pat the Designer, host and creator of the Windy City Breeze, and host of the Chicago Bears podcast over at ESPN 1000. I'm Haize, host and creator of Chicago Bulls Central and Chicago Bears Central YouTube pages and podcasts. And no title sponsor today, so let's jump right into it. So, Pat, DeMar DeRozan said that he has unfinished business left in Chicago on the Run It Back podcast, which is funny enough, the name. But on that same podcast, the clip that didn't get as played as that one, he said that, he would love to play in LA, and you kind of never know what's going to happen. Don't rule out the possibility. Pat, to me, I hear that and I see a guy who's like, hey, I can't show all my hands. I may need to negotiate with these suckers. Let me make sure I don't say one thing or another too much and just say put all my chips in one basket. But a lot of Bulls fans have now taken this to say that, hey, maybe DeMar's heart isn't as in staying in Chicago as one's previously thought. How you feeling, Pat?
I didn't realize I was doing the show with Joel, bro. Like, suckers, that's what we doing.
Suckers, yeah, suckers. That was me censoring myself because I almost said something that would have got the show shut down. So there you go.
I'm not doing this with these suckers. You jive turkeys.
No, I can't say that word either. That phone conversation the other day with Joel was crazy. He used the word that I swear our grandparents used. I was like, Joel is old, bro. Like, that's
I would
crazy.
love to be getting in some. Never mind. But no, I think here's the big thing about DeMar mentioning LA. It's the same thing to me as Zach LaVine mentioned in LA. That it all depends on what the Chicago Bulls want to do, right? That's what it comes down to. And I think here's the biggest thing about DeMar DeRozan talking about, okay, I would love to be a Laker. This is my childhood team. This is the team that I grew up watching. Would you rather be the shooting guard on a team being the 9th seed making $15 million? Or would you rather be the shooting guard on a team being the 9th seed making $30 million? That's what it comes down to me when we talk about the Lakers. DeMar DeRozan does not change the trajectory of the Lakers. This is all based on what LeBron does. Really, it's based on what Anthony Davis does, and I think that is an underrated topic in the LA market. But DeMar DeRozan mentioning LA, I mean, listen, every single player who grew up rooting for a team talks about playing for that team, and I'm not going to sit here and clown them for being a fan of their hometown team. Like, let's be real, Haize. If we got paid a $2 million contract to go cover the New York Knicks, are you going to turn that down?
Bro, you picked the one team that I actually would have to think about it. Like, because
you thought about it. You thought about it.
With a passion.
You thought about it, and now next year you clear $2 million.
Yeah, I mean, as long as they're fine with me trashing their organization, that's all.
I mean, listen, but what are you gonna trash? They're in the playoffs. They're doing their thing. Tom Thibodeau's playing well, right? Like, and I picked that team for a reason because there's something to root for with that team.
Yeah,
right. There's something where you can sit there and build up that team. If either of us could make $2 million to go sit there and cover the New York Knicks, we would jump at that opportunity in a heartbeat. Guess what? I'm always going to love the Chicago Bulls. I'm always going to root for the Bulls. Guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to sit there on a Knicks show and sit there and say, they got to figure out how to stop the Bulls in this manner, this manner, this manner. And I think the Bulls have an advantage if the Bulls would ever play the Knicks. But we're not going to sit here in front and sit here and talk about DeMar DeRozan like, well, why would he sit here and talk about the Los Angeles Lakers? It's the team he grew up rooting for. He went to USC. Clearly, he wanted to be an LA kid. Toronto just drafted him.
Yeah.
He got traded to the Spurs. Business has taken him away from LA, not who DeMar is. His house is in LA. His kids are in LA. Everything that he does is in LA. So I'm not going to sit here and begrudge DeMar DeRozan for cheering for LA. And when people talk about, well, do you want to root for your hometown or the team you grew up rooting for? You were a Kobe fan while you were like a Magic fan growing up and all that. I'm not going to begrudge him for that because that would be unrealistic. Knowing that if any other team came calling and offered a serious amount of money, we would probably be like, yeah, I'm going to go cover that team. It is what it is.
I mean, yeah, it's a job at that point, right? Like, so, but I look at it and I say this I don't even think it's just about that. I do think that could there be a possibility he goes there? Yeah. Could playing for that team be something he's willing to take a pay cut for? Yeah, it's a possibility. But I think like, to me, the Bulls offered him, if that offer was real of $40 million, 2 years, 40 per was real, and he turned that down, to me, that says that there's something either, and maybe it's just money, maybe it's more years that he's looking for, whatever it is. But I have this mindset that if you let somebody get to the open market, you never know what's going to happen. But I think it's going to be much like with the Nikola Vucevic situation. I would not be surprised if the Bulls and DeMar don't reach a contract extension, and within the first day of free agency opening, they have a contract extension done.
I wouldn't be surprised by it, right? Like, it's not like it's a shock to me, but I do always say that. Listen, we both say this. We can sit here and talk logic all day. We can talk about what's supposed to happen, what is going to happen. How many times do we have a phone conversation, Haize, where I'm sitting here telling you something that should happen, and then you respond to me, but we have AK as a GM. You know what I mean? Like that. Yeah. That's a realistic situation here where, yeah, I could see DeMar coming back. I could see DeMar coming back for a reasonable price, but with AK, I could see DeMar not coming back at all and you just lose him for nothing. I could also see DeMar coming back for way too much. Both of these are scenarios that I think the Chicago Bulls have to, I shouldn't say, that I think Chicago Bulls fans have to sit there and prepare themselves mentally for, because the conversation around DeMar is that DeMar wants to come back, the Bulls want DeMar back, and that they're trying to find out a price that works. And yet the one thing that doesn't change about this conversation is the price that works. We keep hearing $40 million, and that's not a price that works if I'm the GM. I don't know about how you feel about that, but 40 mil, I love DeMar. 40 mil is a lot for DeMar.
Yeah, 40 mil is a lot for a player that's going to be, 35 the majority of next season. And like I said, it'd be different if the Bulls were right there, right? Like if they are a team that you're talking about, a team that you really feel like with better health or something could make it to the Eastern Conference Finals. We're far off, my boy, far off. And so it's not that, like I keep saying with this, it's not nothing about DeMar as a person or a player. Like, yeah, he's a flawed player, but at some point you got to realize that, that's one thing that Ryan Poles is really good at. He finds the value between the player's production and now and in the future, and what that's worth to him, and he tries to find a perfect place for that to overlap. If he can't find that, he lets people walk. And I just don't know if AK. I don't have any faith in AK one way or another. I have no idea. We can let him walk. We can end up signing him to a good contract, like you said, or we can vastly overpay him. And anything's a possibility with AK because AK just sees the world differently than everybody else.
If you had to give your best option for DeMar DeRozan right now, what is it in your mind?
Best option?
Best option. So whatever, if you're the GM right now and you have DeMar DeRozan, you have whatever contract he's dealing with right now, what's your best, I guess, scenario, I should say, that you would make work for DeMar DeRozan?
3 years, 26.
So no, let me say that you're not re-signing him. So outside of that, right? Because to me, your best option is trading DeMar.
Well, I mean, at this point, it has to be a sign-and trade.
Yeah, 100%. A sign-and-trade. But my best option right now is trading DeMar DeRozan for the betterment of the future of the Chicago Bulls. Mm-hmm. What's your best option right now?
I don't get what you're asking, bro.
If you're the GM, what's the move that you feel is best for the team moving forward?
Best thing for the team for me, if it comes to either signing DeMar or not signing DeMar, for the longevity of the team is probably not signing DeMar, because then you're probably going to keep your pick in 2025, and that's a deep draft. That's where you can find potentially your next super. Now, again, you got to trust AK's ability to draft, but that's probably where you can find your next. Hope to find your next star that can really up the ceiling. And
so you're not even trying to re-up. You're not trying to move him for other pieces to come in. You're just saying let him walk.
The reason I say that is because signing trades are for veterans like that are very difficult. The Bulls gave up a first-round pick in a signing trade to get DeMar. That's not typically what you get for a veteran. Like the Bulls were just thirsty at that point. Like maybe you explore the signing trades. I mean, it's not really in your control because the team would have to want him and then either need you to create some space or just want it so they can maintain their mid-level or something. And at that point, you're really at what value they seek at. So, I mean, if you can get a sign and trade, great. Hell, even if you get a couple of seconds, it's better than losing them for nothing. And hell, AK has actually had more success with second-round picks than first. So, I mean, there you go there.
This is true. I'm not mad at it.
So, we'll see, man. We'll see. But talking about drafts, man, we're going to talk about some specific players that the Bulls could draft and get into the weeds there. Before we get into that, though, I want to talk to you guys about one of our sponsors, and that is eBay Motors. Passion, drive, and patience. The formula of a winning championship and also winning marriages is also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need. Yeah, passion, drive, patience. Like I'm going to keep saying
I love it.
You need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. Superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you always find exactly what you're looking for. And with the eBay Guarantee Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber and not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to make your car the MVP and bring home huge wins. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay Guaranteed Fit only available to U.S. customers. All right, Patrick.
Wow. Yeah, so early.
Late in the week.
Feels early to me.
Yeah, it's not. But with that said, we're going to get to talking about some specific prospects. We kind of did our overarching, kind of some of the best players that could fit the Bulls at number 11. But let's talk about some of the other players, getting in the weeds of the draft a little bit. And we're going to start off with Kal'el Ware right now. And this is a nice prospect here for the Chicago Bulls. Yeah. Has the wingspan, 7 feet. I think he has a 7'2", 7'3" wingspan. Only 20 years old. 210 pounds, needs to fill out his frame a little bit. But he's somebody that does project. He has an ability to shoot threes. He can run up and down the court. He has some rim protection ability, lob threat as well. Yeah. I like the way that he is developing as a shot blocker as well in that. Doesn't really have a true back to the basket game yet, but he's shown some ability to develop that. How you feeling about Kal'el Ware?
I mean, listen, here's my thing. When you look at him physically, right, 242 pounds last that I saw him, and I believe, if I'm not mistaken, from his freshman year to now, he's gained over 35 pounds in his time in college. That is absolutely insane. A lot of chickens died to make this man right here. You know what I'm saying? But defensively, he's been at a time at Indiana with 1.9 per blocks per game. And I think defensively, as a pick and roll defender, he's somebody that I look at a lot better than what we've seen. And I'm talking about right now coming into the NBA as a sophomore, better than Vooch, better than Drummond. Like just an ability to kind of identify where he needs to be on that pick and roll. I think the wingspan, of course, that you bring up, that does make a difference as well. Offensively, I mean, you're talking about a guy who, yes, back to the basket may not be his game, but 74% as far as a rim finisher, especially when he's on the drive, on the pick and roll. I think that those are things that speak to, especially a guard like Kobe White. somebody that you would love to have on your team, that you would love to have making an impact early on.
Mhm.
I love Kal'el Ware as far as how he fits with this team. There are some questions weakness-wise, right? The back to the basket game is a weakness for him. I think that he does get pushed around a little too much for somebody with the weight that he has. Again, we're talking about somebody like we were talking about with Kyle Filipowski the other day, but he's got more weight. I would feel better about him, especially as far as aggressive as he is offensively with, hey, bro, just be that aggressive on that end of the floor. But 242 pounds on him, that makes a big difference. And to me, I think Kal'el Ware is somebody that the Chicago Bulls could absolutely benefit from early on. You talked about the three-point threat as well, but I look at that interior threat, the rebounding threat, right? Like, and I guess here's my biggest question. What is more important to you as far as development? Is the Pac-12 a better situation, or is the Big Ten a better situation in college? Because in the Big Ten, you saw his numbers take a massive boost, but is that because of the teams that he was playing? We know some of these Big Ten teams, listen, Illinois went far in the dance this year, but some of these Big Ten teams underperform quite a bit.
Yeah, I mean, I can see that, but it's not like they're only playing against Big Ten teams. So
True.
I think to me, it's more about his personal development. When you look at it, his freshman year, 15 minutes per game, but 6.6 points. He goes up to 32 minutes per game in his sophomore year, 16 points basically per game at 58% shooting, which is really good efficiency that you want to see, taking 10 shots per game. And then the 3-point, he hit it at a 42%. But he only took 1.3, and that's what we want, right? Is that we want a center that is a threat to shoot the three. We don't need to be him to be out there taking 3 and 4 3-pointers per game, and that block shots, almost 2 blocks per game. He's a smart pick and roll defender, which is really good. He has that hook shot and floaters that he can go to as a big man, especially while he's developing his true post game. Having those two things, I feel really confident about. I just like the way that he's developed. Still very young, still a player that. It's a perfect combination, really, when you look at what the Bulls do. He's raw, and he still needs to develop, but he has skills that you can see translating day one when he comes in the NBA. The running, the defense, the blocking shots, catching lobs. If you can just do that your rookie year and be effective, he's going to be in foul trouble and stuff like that. If you can just do that, that's all we need. Let the 3-point shot come to you. Let the passing out of pick and rolls come to you, which he's shown a little bit of ability there too as well. I just like Kal'el Ware because he's somebody to me that I can see. He took his freshman year and realized these are things that are going to make me more impactful, and he literally did that one year after another. Those type of guys I always look at and say, that's somebody that I'd be willing to bet on.
I think what's funny about him too is, right, like when you look at kind of some of his weaknesses, you talk about a guy who you can coach those weaknesses out of, but realistically to me, taking advantage of your opportunity. How much importance do we put on that in the draft, right? Because there wasn't a ton of opportunity for him at Oregon. There wasn't a ton of opportunity for him to come out there and show out when he was in that Pac-12 situation. But when more opportunity was given to him, when more opportunity was afforded him, he took the most advantage of that. And I think that's something that you have to talk about as well. And it's one thing to me with Kal'el Ware that I don't know what his ceiling will be in the NBA. But I think he's a Daniel Gafford type of player when I talk. Now, I'm not talking about build. But what I'm talking about is I want you guys to focus in on who Daniel Gafford is. Think about who Daniel Gafford was with the Chicago Bulls. Think about who Daniel Gafford was with the Washington Wizards. Now think about who Daniel Gafford is now. Daniel Gafford is a damn good player. Yeah. Daniel Gafford is somebody who is highly efficient. When I say highly efficient, I'm talking about ridiculously efficient around the rim, a 70% finisher in certain games around the rim. And more times than not in his time in Denver, he has been a 65+% guy around the rim. Why is that? Is it magic? Is it all of a sudden Daniel Gafford figured out, oh, I've got post moves, I've got dunks, I can do these things? No, he's got a player standing next to him like a Luka Doncic, like a Kyrie Irving, who makes him all of a sudden that much better of a player. That's kind of how I look at Kal'el Ware here, where I see a guy in Kobe White and in Ayo Dosunmu who they've improved their 3-point percentage. They've improved how they attack the bucket. If you're a defensive player, you've kind of got to worry about both watching these guys. That to me stands out on a guy like Kal'el Ware. Now, I'll ask you this before we get up out of here. I don't know about 11. 11 seems a little high for Kal'el Ware to me. But I would say if the Bulls found a partner worth trading back with, I would love to see Kal'el Ware kind of around that 17 to 20 range.
See, here's the thing: is I think the upside of Kal'el Ware is I'd be like, at some point you just got to take your guy if that's your guy.
100%.
I wouldn't be mad if the Bulls do take him at number 11, depending on how else the board falls, because they do need a big. But if they're able to trade back and still get him, hell, do it. Yeah. And if you can pick up a second, this is a draft that I do hope the Bulls can get a second in second round pick in, because there's some guys that could fall to the second round that have tremendous upside as well. So
I say this, I would love to see the Bulls find a way to get a late round first. I think that's an opportunity in this
there draft. Is with moving Alex Caruso.
Yeah.
I think that's the key to it. I think that's the key.
Is there? Oh, that's a whole different conversation. We might need to do a whole other episode on that. But I would say those back 5 teams, I would be willing to move Alex Caruso for in the first round.
We'll see, man. We'll see. But the Bulls also may want to wait to pull that chip at the trade deadline and get something in next year's draft too. So we'll see.
Can we trust them to do it at the trade deadline?
We can't trust anything. There's nothing we can trust, bro. No, the answer is no. No, there's nothing we can trust. It's like leaving Drake around your lady. You can't trust
her. Are we talking about your lady or your baby sister? Hey, we want to let you guys know that this show is brought to you by
mine unless he wants to get shot.
Hey, did you see cease and desist are being sent to the TikTok people that are breaking down lyrics,
bro? Not to the
with the OVO owl on it. That mug said, "Who?" Hey, we want to let you guys know that BetterHelp is sponsoring this episode, and that, listen, there's so many things. Me and Haize are both big proponents of going out there and getting some mental help if that is something you need. We all carry around different stressors, big and small, and we keep them bottled up. It can affect us negatively. Therapy is a safe space to get things off your chest and to figure out how to work through whatever is weighing you down. I'm somebody who's personally benefited from therapy. I know Haize has as well. That's why we're such big proponents of it. And I mean, listen, the thing is, sometimes you're sitting there and you're looking for somebody in your family to talk to, some of your best friends to talk to, but they just don't give you that wisdom that you need. And that's where BetterHelp can come in. And I've utilized BetterHelp myself. If you're thinking about starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. Just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist and switch therapists at any time for no additional charge. Get it off your chest with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/LockedOnNBA to get 10% off your first month. It's BetterHelp, HELP.com/LockedOnNBA to get it off your chest with BetterHelp. Getting it off your chest is also something that Meek Mill is writing a song about right now.
That's crazy.
Is that wild? Is that insane?
Wow. That's crazy.
Wow. He's attacking 50 Cent. I'm not going to lie. I'm crazy. A 50 guy. I'm a 50 guy. It is what it is. Meek, you sound like a window shopper.
Was I frozen or were you frozen?
Your internet died for a second, bro.
That's crazy. That's crazy. Anyway, Pat.
I said Meek sounds like a window shopper and the music cut off. I was like, maybe Haize is a Meek fan. I don't know.
No. Definitely 50 guy over here. Tristan De Silva, bro. How do you feel about Tristan? I brought him up on our last episode.
To me, Tristan De Silva is a guy. I mean, listen, he's converted nearly 40% of his catch and shoot threes at the college level. I think that he's somebody who, when you look at size wise, weight wise, you can look at and be confident about. But 6'9", you know he's going to be a power forward in this NBA. I guess my biggest question is, when are we ready? When are we, right, collectively, AK, Mark Eversley, Billy Donovan, Bulls fans, ready to give up on Patrick Williams? Because this is a guy to me that takes Patrick Williams' spot. I think he has a really good low post game as far as scoring the basketball. I think he's got a nice back to the basket game. The fact that he can extend the floor from the 3-point line as well is something that does excite me. I guess the one thing for me, if I'm going to look at Tristan De Silva and say, I believe Tristan De Silva is his brother. If I'm going to look at Tristan De Silva and say maybe, you need to improve upon a little bit is, and I don't know if he can. He's not an athlete. He's a guy that knows his game. He's a guy that can play his game. He's a guy that can go out there and he can
has
make
some
moves.
athleticism. He's just not explosive with anything. Like if he's in the open court, he can dunk on you if he's in the open court, but like he's not gonna go through in transition through traffic and just kill people. So yeah.
And I guess that's my biggest question, right? The one thing that I can say about P. Will, seeing him in person, seeing him play live, seeing him play on TV, in all factors, right? I hate it because he doesn't show it enough. But P. Will is an athlete. P. Will is a dude that if he takes off, he can dunk on anybody and their mama.
That's why we keep wondering, like, why doesn't he realize it?
Well, I think here's the thing. At a certain point, right now, I love that Louis Riddick said this, and I know that he was not intending this to go as a slight against Justin Fields, but it did kind of. Flashes get you fired. P. Will has flashes. At a certain point, you have to look at the flashes and say, this is not the guy who he is. This is the guy who he is in moments. And that's my biggest problem for me. The only question that I do have with Tristan da Silva that I don't have with P. Will, and my God, it's the only question I don't have with P. Will, is I know that P. Will can guard any player in the NBA when he puts his mind to it. Tristan da Silva, I do not believe that he is a 1-through-4 defender. I think that he is a 4 defender. The 4 has to be kind of a 4/5 kind of guy to me when I watch him defensively. I do not believe in him as an elite defender at that 4 position, but I guess at a certain point, you have to find guys who can score the basketball. I wouldn't love him at 11 either. I would love him as a guy who comes in kind of at a 14-15 range. A little bit later in that draft, you can get something more on top of it. I know this is not the NFL draft, but I hate to say, I don't see him as a good defender in the NBA.
Oh, no. Listen, I see him as maybe a serviceable defender, maybe a team defender, because he does compete on the defensive side of the ball. He's not somebody who's not giving effort. He's just somebody who, because of some of his lack of athleticism and stuff like that, it's sometimes players can get the better of him.
You have him a lot higher as a defender.
I mean, listen, I watch a lot of specific.
I think he knows his game offensively.
He does. No, he's very aware offensively.
I love that.
But
I think he's lost defensively.
I see, and I think he gives effort defensively, and that's really what everybody's not going to be a lockdown defender, but I don't want people who fall asleep defensively. He does give effort. Now, that's also against lesser competition. Could that change in the NBA? Absolutely. But I look at him and I say that there's somebody who, depending on how switchable you try to make your lineups, I can see him being okay in that.
Here's my problem with it. I see him as like how I talked about Dalton Connect the other day offensively. I don't think that he could separate offensively from guys because of his speed. I think Tristan da Silva gets separated too far often defensively because of his speed and his lack of ability to switch on guys.
Yeah, I mean, the size and the wingspan that he does have, he has what you would think could be at least could be made a solid defender.
He's just a Captain Carney guy.
Yeah, oh, definitely, for sure. And like I said, I feel like if he goes to the right situation offensively, I'm not saying defensively,
yes,
but if he goes to the right situation with a coach that's going to trust him and put it in, he's able to just do what he does well, he can have a Jaime Jaquez type rookie year.
I agree with that, but Jaime Jaquez definitely from the offensive end. I'm not gonna lie to you, I don't remember a lot of Jaime Jaquez defensive highlights either. So I don't know if Jaime Jaquez was clamping on the other end. After the season is over, I usually take a long look at a lot of the rookies and kind of break down what their game was. But Tristan da Silva being a Jaime Jaquez type of player, I would almost agree with that. Mm-hmm. But the tough part is, can you afford to play him at the 3 while still having a defensive 4? 6'9", I think he's too slow to do that.
I mean, I guess we'll see, bro. Like I'm not saying that you're wrong. I guess I rank his defensive potential a little bit higher than what you do. Again, I'm not in any way saying he's gonna be a lockdown defender. I just think that he has the ability to. He's going to be one of those players that, depending on the match, we're going to be like, damn, Tristan got cooked last night. And then we can go in the next night and be like, hey, listen, he played he got in the pass lanes a couple of times.
And I want to say, I love him offensively.
Yeah.
I think he's a really good. I think if the Bulls were in a better position, him coming in as a Jaime Jaquez type of, like, let's be real. If he's the 3 off of your bench, I'm great with that. But my problem is right now the 3 off of your bench is probably Alex Caruso and or Javonte Green. They have to play a major role because your starters aren't playing a bigger role. You're looking for somebody in this draft that, to me, that comes in and plays an immediate role. That's why I love a Kal'el Ware. I love a Dalton Connect if you take him at 11. I would love a Kyle Filipowski. I think these are guys that come in and they're just like, y'all know what my game is. Here's my game. Find a way to use me in this offense.
Yeah, he just turned 23 as well. At being 23, you better know your game at that point, right? Like coming in.
I think he knows his game offensively. I do think he knows his game offensively. I just don't believe in him defense. Me personally, I don't know if everybody believes. I don't believe in him defensively in the slightest.
I mean, hey, I can understand where you're coming from there. But yeah, overall, like I said, it's definitely not at 11. That's way too high.
Oh, you think he's down in Bronny range?
Oh no, fuck that. No.
There it is. Hey.
No, he's not in Bronny range, but I do think he's into first, beginning the second.
We letting that fly? Are we letting that fly? Bro, I'm telling you, I said this on Locked On NBA last night. Bronny is gonna go 15 to 22. Mark my words.
You want to bet on that?
What we bet?
Bet. All right. Here's what we're gonna do.
Bet?
We gotta make it. We have our friendly.
We gotta make it TV show here. We gotta make it TV friendly or internet friendly.
The loser has to buy and wear either Knicks or Packers hat on the show.
It will be Knicks for sure, because I think my job made the bid. And I will absolutely do 100%. I think here. I'm not backing out the bet at all. I believe this, but I think I'm the only one that believes this. Bronny's numbers with his name, or what Bronny has done this weekend with his name, has boosted his stock. I think that people are going to look at him and literally just go, "We can get LeBron for a year, and Bronny may be a prospect." By the way, he shot 4 for 10. I don't know if people, he shot I know the headline said 13 points for Bronny James. Yeah. He shot 4 for 10. Mm-hmm. But I'm telling you, dog. So the range I said, what I say, 14 to 22?
That's not what you said.
I said 15 to 20. At a minimum, I said 15.
You said 15. Yeah, you said 12 to 15. Run the tape back, my brother.
No. I absolutely said 22. I know that.
Oh, if you said 15 to 22, then I don't think that's what you said, though, bro. I wish we could run the tape back right now. I don't feel like that's what
y'all let me know what I said. I believe I said 15 to 22. I'll take what I believe that Bronny is going to be way higher than we think. I think it does. It goes past 15, but I thought I said 15 to 22. If I didn't say that, that's what I intended. But whatever we made the bet on, that's what the bet is.
We can make the bet. Like, no, that's what we're so 15 to 22.
15 to 22. I think that he's that high. But I would, if I said 12 to 15, I think that listen,
you had a
12
drinks,
would be
bro.
insane.
I was about to say that's what my brain heard. So that's why I reacted the way I did. 15 to 22, I can.
That's still high though, bro. That's still way ridiculously
high. It's still way too high for somebody who needs to be in the G League.
15 to 22, that's ridiculously high. I think Bronny's a second round pick at best.
Yeah, I agree with you. Wholeheartedly agree with you.
Yeah, watch the Bulls regret not passing on him. It is what it is. Follow us on everything at Locked On Bulls. You can follow me on everything at Pat the Designer. And hey, watch out for Meek Mill. You never know, man. He's dissing people on Twitter. You got to watch your back.
Yeah. And if you're a Bulls fan and think the Bulls should draft Bronny at number 11, I hate you. You guys can follow me at CEO Haize. Thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of Locked On Bulls. We are free and available on every podcasting app and platform.
What about Zach Edey?
As well as YouTube. Hate you as well. As well as YouTube. For Pat the Designer, I'm Haize. This has been Locked On Bulls. We out here, y'all. Peace.
Zach Edey slid.
Hey.
Hey. I hate you. I hope all the bad things in life can happen to you and only you. I don't even know you, but I hate your guts.